Hi. I know I said I would come on at 6 o'clock. I'm not sure who will join, who won't. I just have this quick, few minutes in between sessions. And so I wanted to share, you know, as promised, um, what happened and the examples and the proof and the living proof, I guess is what I want to say. And so hopefully you guys will join me to hear this. I hope that a lot of the tips that I offer people, I offer them because I believe in them. So when I say this to somebody and they follow through and they actually see the evidence, that's super cool. Not everybody follows through, and so this video tonight is to encourage you guys to do so. All right. So I'm not sure who's going to join. I know it's Friday. People, I would say we're a bit happy hour, but we're still in lockdown. So here. Anyway, okay. So I'm not sure who's going to be able to join, but I wanted to share with you guys kind of something that happened that is living proof and that I really truly enjoyed. And that is that, as many of you know, what I do is I encourage sleep learning. I encourage sleep learning because if you can manage it, you are the most receptive when you are asleep. Right? So it's like, many of you who are Neville followers know that you want to start putting, you want to start imagining, you want to whatever that you're doing, especially if it's done at night when you're receptive, right? And so I came up with this thing where if I listen to these books, I'm programming them in my head. So that's what I did, and I want you to kind of follow along with me for just a minute. It was several books, and in those books we covered several laws of prosperity. But it wasn't just the laws of prosperity, it's the concept that money is built here. How to manage it, how to run it, even just the illusion of it. It's not real, it's imaginary, right? Just like everything else. And many of us that are Neville students, we know this, right? But I sometimes when we think of something tangible, we don't think of it as imaginary yet, right? Like we still work for it, we still do all these things. We don't think it can fall out of the sky for us. That's not how, it's not how our mind works. Our mind thinks we've got to work, okay? And so one of the things that it covers in the book is that it's made here first, not the other way around. And so I was raised, you work for it. You work for it, okay? And so the book, what it does is get you off that trajectory and says, no, you're working against the grain. You want to build it up in here in your mind, and then you step into the state, just like anything else. So that was one thing that was covered. Another thing that was covered, because it was several authors, but I want to talk to you guys about the main principles that really influenced and that I witnessed. Okay. The other thing that was part of the laws of prosperity was a universal forgiveness. So if you have things that are points of contention with you, things that are unresolved or whatever, it's like this universal forgiveness. You forgive everything and you accept forgiveness from others, whether they give it to you or not. You're just treating yourself at night, and that's what you're accepting. Another concept that was covered was there is no debt. Debt is just as much as the illusion as the money. God's ideas are whole, so they don't come with debt. If there's a debt, then the way to pay it appears as well. And if we're not creating both, then we create this shortage where you're short on both ends, how to pay it and seeing a short, right? All right. Again, these are concepts that were put into my head because for as long as I know, debt is real. Like, just look at America. All right. That occurred. And the other hang-up, it's a personal hang-up of mine. I feel guilty. I have always felt guilty charging for my time. It is my biggest issue. It always has been. It always trips me up. And at first, it was because I didn't understand my value. I didn't understand how valuable what I had to say was. And so it would trip me up. I don't know what to charge. Okay. Right now, I know that what I know is priceless. So that helped. Okay. But I still felt guilt charging. Well, the book discusses, I even made a blog post about it, how paying for services is reaping and sowing. It's the law. It's a normal part. It's a demonstration of faith that whatever you've ordered, you're showing your faith. And it doesn't matter whether it's $1 that you pay or $1,500. I don't care what it is. It's a demonstration of faith. Okay? So again, these are concepts in the book. And all of these are significant, I promise. I'm getting to the point. So all of this occurred, and I start reading these or listening to these books at night. And the very first example that happened, my friend, I love her to death, said, guess what? And I said, what? She said, Josiah for our church is using his happy pocket full of money for inspiration. And I was like, that's the book I'm listening to every night. This is not the first time this has happened, but it's like literally because we know how 3D is made, what I put in my head at night is now appearing outside of me. And, you know, Josiah doesn't know that that's the book that I keep playing all the time. And he doesn't know why he chose that book. He likes it just like I do, I suppose. We're the same person in a way. But again, that was evidence. Right away, that was my first evidence of the image that I put in my head and that I pictured outside. That was the most important one. Secondly, I had money returned to me. Okay. And you have to understand the way things ended, I did not think I was going to get it back. I was feeling injured because I didn't think it was fair how things went down. And because it was principal, not amount, I felt injured, right? But remember, I'm programming universal forgiveness into my head, and I'm programming no debt. Like no one can take from you. If there's a void, God fills it, so there's no need to sweat. Okay? So these again were programmed. So out of the blue and out of nowhere, after not talking, she said, I got a response out of the blue that was like, I see that things went down this way and here's your money back. Out of the blue. I was like, that's crazy because it wasn't the amount, again, principle, but it felt good. All right. Moving past that, it was the most bizarre thing. I started getting presents in the mail. Okay. I started getting gifts in every direction. By the way, I love my gifts. But there were things coming to me in the mail that I did not plan for. Cash, a beautiful bottle of perfume, just these, I don't know, but mostly it was these just gifts, jewelry, just little things that someone said, Sin, I really appreciate how you helped me here. Here's this little thing, or who says that, in my friend's case, the present that she gave me was for Mother's Day and my birthday combined. And it arrived after I started doing these books. It is hard to describe what it's like, but it feels good to be on the receiving end of flow. And not just any flow, right? But the type of flow that is created by listening to a recording at night and then witnessing the next day all the people, places, and things that are playing the roles, okay? All right, so that was cool. Next thing that happens, my website it's under construction. There's nowhere to book me. And I've been kind of challenged with trying to change how I wanted to teach. So I've been on the quiet side. Okay. But remember, I started listening to a recording that told me that it's okay to charge and that paying customers is part of the law. And that by not expecting anything that I'm actually shorting myself and them in terms of a demonstration of faith. There's just little things, but they're things that I needed to hear. Okay? So what happens? One customer called, then another customer called, then another customer called, and payment wasn't an issue. It was an issue. Here. And it started coming in. And then the next person referred the next person. The next person referred the next person. And I have been super busy. And I know that the book made the people. And it is not the first time that I have turned words into people. And you know when they say the word is made flesh? And I know it's metaphorical. It's a lot closer to the truth than you all realize. It's a lot closer to the truth than you all realize. And so in this particular case, it was overwhelmingly good. But I want you guys to think about that. I didn't advertise. I didn't do anything except listen to a book in my sleep. Okay? But it gets even better. When I was working my job, I grew to not like it. It is not something that I wanted to do. I just didn't like it anymore. It wasn't for me. So even the idea of being a manager in my position didn't appeal because it was just more of the same. And if you do something for 20 years, you don't want to do it, right? But I also chose to hold myself back because since I didn't like it, the idea of managing others in this position, wasn't for me either. Okay. But remember, my self-image is being programmed by these books. So this is the best part. I get a phone call, and it turns out to be somebody that I worked with from 2000 to 2008, 2009, 2010. So for about 10 years, we made a lot of money together during a recession. The recession never affected us. We made cash. That's what we did. We made cash. We were a good team. We made cash. But he also knew that I had retired from this. This is not what I want to do. So I get this phone call from him, and we're friends. You don't work for somebody for 10 years, make a ton of money together, and not be friends, right? So we're friends. Well, let me backtrack. I made a ton of money for the company, and he did too, that he was working for. Okay. I say that because when he called me, mind you, your self-image is changing, right? When he called me, he said, I hesitated to ask this of you and call you. But the truth is, only you can do this, and only you can do this. I could really use your help. I now own my own company. I'd be honored if you would partner with me. You do not You work the hours that you need to. We can set it up. We can do everything. So in other words, he's not saying here's the 9 to 5. And so I asked him. I said, well, what would you like me to do? This is good, you guys. He needs help training his recruiters, not technically, not anything, but sort of transcending barriers. Okay. And sort of helping us overcome obstacles. And what he said is he had tried his best to get out of a certain 3D box, but he feels like from within the box, he can't get out of the box, is what he's saying. He's too involved, and when he tries to help here, he ends up shorting what he's supposed to be doing, and he just really needs a little help here and there. But basically what he called me to say was, I want to pay you a lot of money and incentivize you to work whatever hours you want. Maybe even be on the board of directors. And just kind of throwing it all in there, trying to, every time he said something, he sweetened the pot to convince me if I wanted to do this. Okay? But basically, he wants to pay me to do what I do for a corporation. In other words, I'm getting paid to be me. I'm doing nothing else. But I can't stress the caliber of position is I just got offered my boss's job. That's huge. Because, again, if you program your self-concept, like I want to say why it's huge, right? If you program your self-concept and your self-concept changes, the quality of what you're being offered also changes. The quality of what's coming in also changes. And I know it sounds silly, but everything is still coming in. There's a steady stream. Like, I have been gifted so many things and it's still coming in. Like John's like, oh, this package for you in the mail. This package is for you in the mail. It feels really good. But at the end of the day, I realized the most important part. And that is, I took my empty hands and laid them out before bed. I played these prosperity books, and out of nothing, out of zero such, God's substance appeared. And a lot of it. And it's still coming. Like, I'm in a flow state. It's still coming. It's the best feeling in the world. For a lot of reasons. But the most important reason is this. I feel like a child who has just taken his or her first job and is no longer on the parent's allowance. That's what this means to me. It's independence from having to need a steady paycheck, if that makes sense. And I know it has everything to do with the books that I programmed in. Everything. So I want to encourage you guys, if you guys sleep learn, if you guys are struggling, if you guys are trying to figure out what these laws are, you know, you have to prepare for your good and show active faith. Because those are one things, but then I also listen to the boring books on how to manage money, because if I get a sudden influx like what's happening, I got to know how to manage it, right? So again, it's all active faith, but do these things because out of nothing, everything appears. And the most important part here is this. If you understand that all of you have God's substance, God's substance is all that we have. It is blank. Okay? It's the void. Light hasn't been declared on it. It's waiting for you to create it. So it exists as a bunch of little possibilities. That's your God substance. What you declare over it when you're the most receptive will be. And I want you guys to really think about that, because many of us, especially when it comes to prosperity, have a poor man's attitude. What's a poor man's attitude? Okay. A poor man's attitude is someone who, it's not about struggling with bills. It's not about what he has and doesn't have. A poor man's attitude, this person is poor. You can always tell because they're resenting their place in society. They're blaming the government. They're blaming the world. They get mad when people have money, and, you know, they almost want to dictate what that person should do with their money. Like it's their money. But you can almost feel the envy or the separation or the whole concept of those wealthy people over there, and then there's me. And so as soon as we do that, we separate that God substance and we take it and we place it outside of ourselves. You don't want to do that. It's unlimited, folks. It's unlimited. It really, truly is unlimited. So the whole concept of envying someone because of what they have or because of their success makes no sense, because their success is theirs. It doesn't stop you from having yours. It's unlimited. Never ever do the birds question where they're going to sleep, how they're going to eat. They just know they're provided for. And so are we. There's never a moment that we are not carrying this substance. And it is always becoming what we think. So we have to examine what we're expecting, because we always get it. We always get it. You know, we could prepare until the cows come home or whatever for victory. You know, like we can plan for it. We can do all our affirmations. We could do all of this. But if we make a backup plan for disaster, just in case kind of thing. We're going to get what we prepared for. So I want you guys to remember, and I want you guys to keep this image that it really is built in here first. Make a concerted effort, because I promise you, money and being in the flow and being happy and getting paid for what you do and getting paid to be yourself and all of these things evolve because you understand your value, your worth, you're listening to the law, and you're finally using the law in your favor. Because you see, we all, including myself, I'm not in any way saying that's them and there's me, right? I'm including myself. We all unconsciously use the law against us in word, thought, deed, and speech, right? We use it against us, like whether we envy someone, whether we get mad because they're making $300,000 a month and you're not, like, it doesn't matter. He can make 300,000, you can make $1 trillion. It doesn't matter. $1 or $1 trillion is the same to God. A headache or cancer, it's the same to God. It does not matter. We are the ones who put a level of difficulty in our manifestation, and that causes the block or the delay. But all my client calls, I got to share these because my client calls have been amazing. I love them, by the way. But anyway, one of the things that was shared with me is this, okay? I want you to think of your prosperity, and your prosperity, I want you to think of it, it's health, wealth, and love. I'm not talking about money. I'm talking about quality of life, okay? It's just as easy for you to imagine this money in your hand as it is to imagine that we're brushing our teeth every day. Take the importance off, okay? I started to teach this class a while ago and I stopped because the lessons weren't included in the book, and it threw me off because there were some at first and there wasn't, and so I ended up stopping what I was doing. But when I was trying to work on that thing, one of the things that it helped us do is when we were trying to manifest something is take the specialness off. So I want you to think of whatever you're trying to manifest as easy as brushing your teeth. You imagine that too. You step into that state every day. It's just what you know, so it's easy, right? Take the importance of what you want, and there's a unique balance between detachment and expectation. And it's sort of a dance we play. And that dance is akin to driving a stick shift, right? When you're driving a stick shift, you're trying to figure out what's the perfect balance between the gas and the clutch, right? That's how manifestations work. And so there's just this, it's hard to explain, but you want to take the importance off and be detached, okay? I think the most important thing here, you guys, or what I really, really wanted to share is I witness all the time how my books turn into circumstances and the people show up. They have no idea why they're showing up. They have no idea what compelled them. Does it work out in my favor and their favor? Yes. Part of the best part. But there's a huge difference between working really hard and having stuff come to you. And that's what I'm trying to impart. When I program these books at night, I'm not working really hard. In fact, what could be easier than turning something on at a low volume, falling asleep? And so that's all I've done. But every day I get to step into a new scenario, new clients, new joy, new happiness, no points of contention, no debt. Oh, that's the other one. Oh, I forgot to say that. This is another example. Remember I said that there was no debt? I have to throw this in really quick. I was slightly behind on my phone bill. I think I hadn't paid the last month, and the new one was gonna come up. So I was like, "Ooh, I better pay my phone bill." We tend to lose track of time. I do a lot, and so I was worried about that. And so I was like, let me pay it before, it's behind, right? So I go to log in and I'm fully expecting both months to be due, or, this kind of thing where I'm expecting my debt to be there, right? But every night I program there is no debt, right? So I go to open my phone bill, which, mind you, it's one of those essential bills you always pay, right? I go to open my phone bill, and not only am I not late, I'm 3 weeks early and it was paid in full. I didn't lift a finger. Now, I've done this before, but this time I've done it in there's lots of different ways I manifest money. Sometimes I manifest money through tapping. Sometimes I manifest money in different ways. But this was one of those ways where it literally just happened because of what I was listening to. And so the material world reformulated itself and matched the book. And because I'm aware of, I hop parallel realities all the time, I was really clear on what I was seeing. You can't miss it, right? So please, by all means, if you guys are trying to manifest money, especially right now, another concept that it shares, right, is that you are taken care of all times because you have this God substance, right? So it doesn't matter if we're in a depression, right? Like right now, everyone's unemployed. I should not be prospering. Okay? But the book says God takes care of you in a depression and in good times. All right? And so what is evident right now? Yeah? Okay. So please, please, please understand 3D will form itself to your will. It works best when you're non-resistant. It works best when you're not putting specialness. When you remember that it doesn't matter to God if it's a headache or cancer. For us, it seems way more severe to have cancer, right? To God's neutral stance, if you said heal, he says yes. It doesn't matter. Cancer, headache, same thing. So remember not to put the specialness on things, and if I can give you some of the authors that have influenced me, Happy Pocket Full of Money is one. Robert Russell is Putting the Ideas of Prosperity to Work, and You Too Can Be Prosperous. They're a companion set. They two work together. The first one goes over the laws and makes you understand why you are prosperous. The second one is a practical application of things that you can do to make the first book come to life in your world. There's a Little Money Bible by Stuart Wilde. I like that one too. Happy Pocket Full of Money, Robert Russell. There is a set of books by Richard Dotz. I usually put them at the end of the playlist when I'm really, really asleep. Richard Dott's books are probably one of the best, but they need someone to read them out loud because the only ones on the net are this electronic voice. So it helps me sleep at night, but I put it towards the bottom because I'm really asleep and so I'm not distracted by the book sounding monotone. And let me think, what other? Robert Russell. Oh, anything by Florence Scovel Shinn. You could throw in a Neville lecture. It doesn't matter how you want to form your prosperity checklist, but these are just books that, they really spoke to me when I was first reading them, and I've read them over and over and over again. And I probably because, I do it at night anyway, but it's making a huge, huge difference in my life. I've been gifted in so many ways, and I didn't advertise. I didn't do anything. I stood still. Okay? And that's important. That's so, so important for you guys to realize that you have this God substance that will form itself to anything. Like right now, if someone would say to me, I'll give you $1 trillion and all the gold in the world if you give me your knowledge and you go back to zero, right? I'd say keep your money. Because God's substance is unlimited and what they're giving me is a limitation. But you have to believe in this substance. You have to know that this is your birthright. You have to know that you always have it. You have to know how to command it into place. And so if a book helps you get there, do it. Use it. Try it. Okay, you guys? But I wanted to share my good news because I'm just so humbled and I'm so happy. It means a lot to me to stand here and literally be prospered for being myself. Nothing else. And I know sometimes you guys don't want to bother me, and you hesitate or whatever. And I want you guys to know that if in any point in time you are compelled to talk to me, I probably need to hear what you have to say because you're speaking into my soul as well. And so I love what I do. I love you guys. And please, I specialize in a few things. Everyone is you pushed out being the easiest one. Probably being the most valuable skill because recently I had a client have a huge breakthrough and she was trying to create her SP and she saw it. She saw everyone as you pushed out and it became so clear and suddenly there was no specialness and she understood. And it's a huge, huge breakthrough when you understand that you are one with all of creation at all times. And when you can visibly see it, game changer. Okay. So I also specialize in 3D boxes when you're stuck. Everybody knows that repetitive pattern. Be like, I see how I got here. I'm here. I've been here forever. I'm trying to get out. I don't want to get out. I'm that person. I reach in the box. I get you out. We're all good. Okay. So if these are, or for anything really, I also get asked health questions. I'm kind of like this walking encyclopedia of random knowledge, and you'd have to talk to me to know that, but you'd be surprised how much information I'm holding up here. And so I just want to share that with you guys. And please, please remember, you really do have this God substance. It really is very similar to electricity. If you don't know that it's there, you can't harness it. But it is there and it's always with you. And there is not one moment that not any of you shouldn't be prosperous, because that's technically God's will. A lot of people don't understand that. They have guilt over wealth or whatever, but technically God's will is for us to be prosperous, for us to be happy and joyful. Okay? So please, please, please consider listening to these books at night. If you can't sleep with books, it's not the end of the world. If you could even commit to 20 minutes, a half an hour before bed, and then if you really have to, you just turn it off. It still is depositing seeds in your brain when you're tired and when you're receptive. That's the best time because that's when we're programmable. And nothing in the world would give me greater pleasure than to have you all see it. Have you all see 3D turn into something totally different. I know many of you manifested things, but I really want you to see that instant. Because the more these things happen, they're not rational, but the more these things happen, then you can sound as crazy as I am. You can sound as crazy as I am because you will know from experience, and that faith muscle is now certifiably strong because you know it from experience. Today I had someone and we're friends, so we just have a difference of opinion. I had someone say that I was, speaking that new, it's difficult because although she understands a lot of what I say, I have this new age bullshit, is what she called it, right? And I just laughed because a few years ago, I was her, and that's exactly the type of shit I would have said. And it was so funny to witness my growth. Like, that's not me anymore. I actually have experience being irrational because my experience has not been rational. It's been proven. And so the law has proven itself. And therefore, I don't have to be rational anymore. So I want you guys to know that you all have that within you, that this is everyone's power. And last, I know many people think sometimes when you do everybody has this moment where they say the laws work for everybody else but me. Okay? And the reason I want to say that that's not the case is I gave this same recommendation to a friend, and she started listening to the books. And I kid you not, same exact thing happened to her. Her bills were paid early. Cash came in the mail, lots of cash, and paying customers. Like, it's almost as if I went through it and mirrored the experience so then she could have the same thing. So that's why at the end of the day, in truth, that's what we're doing. We're sharing things that help us get through. So if I can in any way convey something, a shortcut that might make things easier on you, by all means, take advantage. I'm living proof. I'm living proof. And it feels good. It feels really good. Okay? I love you guys. I have a client tonight, so I have to get back to what I'm doing. I'm going to make a concerted effort to try and do the lives. I've just been overwhelmed in a good way with clients, but all of the clients that I'm getting, I need to hear anyway. So, but I will make some time so that we can share other lessons and other things. But please, by all means, try this out. Listen to these prosperity books. Give it a go. You have nothing to lose. You have nothing to lose and everything to gain. And want you guys to see the word made flesh. Not just the Bible, any word. Any word. So, good night, you guys. I love you, and I really, 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 really hope that you guys have a great evening. We'll be talking soon. But please, 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 test those books out. Listen to them. Give it a shot. Because I promise you, you really do have this substance, and it looks empty. What I'm holding in my hand looks like there's nothing there. I get that. But I'm actually holding the universe and all of its potential. I just got to speak into it. My let there be light moment. And then I get what I want. And it's not just me, it's everyone. This applies to everyone. I'm in no way special. So, okay, you guys. Good night, and I love you so much. It's so good to see you guys. I apologize that I haven't been on the videos as much. Has nothing to do with not wanting to be there and everything to do with how I'm being pulled in these directions. But know that I'm happy, that I miss you all, and that I welcome the conversations and to talk and to catch up. And if there's anything that you need, please don't hesitate to reach out, because life is good, and it should be good for everybody. Love you. Bye-bye.